You walk into the dimly lit bedroom. There it is. Your dog is standing completely frozen in the center of the rug. A single, slightly damp gym sock dangles loosely from their mouth. Their eyes widen. Their tail gives a slow, rhythmic thump against the doorframe. And suddenly, the chase is on. You dive left, they dart right, treating your expensive running sock like a championship trophy. It is incredibly easy to view this classic canine mischief as a simple nuisance, or worse, a deliberate attempt to drive you crazy. But you are looking at it completely wrong. To an evolutionary biologist or a neuroscientist, that stolen piece of laundry is not just garbage. It is a biological love letter. It is a highly concentrated olfactory proxy for your presence. It is a self-soothing tool rooted in ancient genetics. And most importantly, it is a profound neurological compliment. When your dog steals your sock, they aren't just being naughty. They aren't trying to make your morning routine harder. They are desperately trying to keep a piece of you with them. Here is the exhaustive, fact-dense, scientific reality behind the theft. Before we look at the brain scans, we have to strip away the human assumptions. We project our own insecurities onto our pets. Myth number 1. My dog is doing this out of spite because I left them alone for too long. But behavioral neuroscience tells a completely different story. Dogs physically lack the prefrontal cortex development required for secondary, premeditated emotions. They do not feel spite. They do not seek revenge. They are not vindictive. When a dog steals a sock during your absence, it is actually an act of desperate chemical self-soothing. Then there is myth number 2. My dog is showing dominance. They are trying to be the alpha by claiming my things as their own. This is purely fiction. The alpha wolf dominance theory has been thoroughly debunked by modern ethologists. Even Dr. L. David Meek, who originally popularized the theory decades ago, retracted it based on extensive wild wolf observations. Your dog is not trying to dominate you. Behaviorally, it is driven by basic operant conditioning. The dog has learned that stealing a sock immediately results in eye contact, vocalization, and physical pursuit. To a dog, even a harsh, scolding tone is a form of intense, thrilling social engagement. It is attention logic, not dominance logic. But to understand the true power of the sock, we have to look at your sweat. The human foot contains approximately 250,000 eccrine sweat glands. That makes your socks the most densely concentrated source of your unique chemical signature in the entire house. You are leaving behind a microscopic, invisible map of your identity. And your dog's incredibly complex olfactory system is built to read every single detail of it. Let's look at the hard data. A groundbreaking 2015 fMRI study out of Emory University, led by Dr. Gregory Burns, changed everything we know about canine love. Researchers trained 12 awake, completely unrestrained dogs to sit perfectly still inside an fMRI scanner. They were systematically presented with 5 distinct scents: their own scent, a familiar dog, an unfamiliar dog, a familiar human, and an unfamiliar human. The results were staggering. No other scent triggered the brain quite like the scent of a familiar human. The fMRI scans revealed that the scent of a familiar human triggered a maximal, statistically significant activation of the caudate nucleus. This is the canine brain's primary reward and dopamine processing center. Not even the scent of a familiar housemate dog triggered this degree of anticipatory response. When your dog holds your sock, that intense concentration of your eccrine sweat directly triggers their caudate nucleus. It is literally bathing their brain in dopamine. The stolen sock quite literally makes them chemically happy. Because this isn't just psychology, it's hard chemistry. Dr. Miho Nagasawa at Azabu University proved this by measuring urinary oxytocin levels in dog-owner pairs after just a 30-minute interaction. She found that affiliative interactions resulted in a massive 130% increase in canine oxytocin and an astonishing 300% increase in human oxytocin. This is the exact same bonding hormone released between human mothers and newborn infants. And your dog can trigger this biological loop simply by interacting with your specific scent. Dr. Marta Gacci at Utrecht University took this revelation even further. Utilizing a modified strange situation test designed for human toddlers, she continuously monitored canine heart rate variability and cortisol drops. She definitively proved that dogs utilize their owners as a biological secure base. They show stabilized heart rates and dramatically reduced stress markers when they have access to you, or, crucially, a proxy of you. Chewing a heavily owner-scented object acts as a powerful proxy for social bonding when you are unavailable. Think about how profound that is. The secure base effect means that in an unpredictable, terrifying world, your specific scent provides a literal anchor of safety. When you leave the house, the dog's cortisol, the primary stress hormone, begins to steadily climb. The sock is not a toy. It is a biological pacifier. By keeping it in their mouth, they are successfully tricking their own nervous system into believing you are still in the room. They are biohacking their own anxiety, and it works perfectly. But why carry it around? Why aggressively guard the sock? To understand this specific mechanic, we must look at thousands of years of evolution. In 2017, evolutionary biologists at Princeton University identified specific structural variants on canine chromosome 6. In humans, mutations in this exact genetic locus cause Williams-Buren syndrome. It is a neurological condition characterized by indiscriminate, intense hypersociability. This genetic insertion during early domestication hardwired dogs for an intense, unbreakable social attachment to humans. This specific genetic drive compels them to relentlessly seek out your engagement. They are biologically programmed to retain objects that are chemically identifiable as belonging to their bonded human. But the physical act of stealing your clothes goes back even further. Look at the ancient archaeological evidence. Consider the Bonn Oberkassel dog burial in Germany, roughly 14,000 years ago, or the Natufian burial at Ain Malaha in Israel, 12,000 years ago. In Ain Malaha, a puppy was buried with a human hand gently resting on it. This proves that dogs shared intimate sleeping quarters with humans incredibly early in our shared history. They had direct daily access to our animal hide clothing and sleeping bedding. For thousands of years, humans and dogs survived the brutal ice ages by huddling together for warmth. The smell of human sweat, animal hides, and campfires meant safety, food, and survival. Today, your modern bedroom is simply the evolutionary equivalent of that ancient cave. When your dog pulls a sock from the laundry basket, they are tapping into a deeply ingrained survival instinct. They are gathering the scented resources of their pack leader to create a den of absolute security. Combine this with the evolutionary concept of neoteny. Domestic dogs selectively retain juvenile wolf traits long into adulthood. Wild wolf pups engage in object play by stealing and carrying the hides or bones of prey back to the den to practice motor skills. In modern dogs, this ancient juvenile instinct is redirected toward the modern hides of their family unit, your socks. Your dirty laundry is quite literally their evolutionary security blanket. It is a healthy, affiliative, and neurologically enriching behavior. Which brings us to a vital, non-negotiable veterinary warning. The sudden cessation or alteration of this deeply ingrained behavior is a stark clinical red flag. If your chronically mischievous sock thief suddenly stops entirely, you do not celebrate the end of a bad habit. You investigate. Because this subtle behavioral shift is often the very first sign of a hidden, agonizing medical issue. If a dog stops bending down to pick up socks, or entirely ceases the playful darting evasion tactic, they might be hiding severe musculoskeletal pain. According to clinical data from the University of Pennsylvania, osteoarthritis affects 20% of dogs over 1 year of age and up to 80% of dogs over the age of 8. Pain in the cervical spine or forelimbs makes grasping, pulling, and running with objects physically unbearable. They still want to steal the sock, but their deteriorating bones simply won't let them. Then there is the threat of canine cognitive dysfunction, essentially canine dementia. A 2010 cross-sectional study in the Veterinary Journal found that CCD affects up to 35% of dogs over the age of 8. If an older dog picks up a sock but drops it aimlessly, or simply forgets they are holding it in their mouth, pay attention. Disorientation and a loss of previously conditioned attention-seeking behaviors are primary diagnostic markers in the DISHA framework. They aren't just losing interest in the game, they are losing their cognitive mapping. We also absolutely cannot ignore periodontal disease. Epidemiological studies published in the Journal of Small Animal Practice indicate that 80% of dogs develop some degree of periodontal disease by age 3. Sudden reluctance to grasp soft objects can indicate severe, silent dental pain. Hidden tooth fractures, hidden abscesses, or stomatitis make holding a sock intensely painful. If they drop the sock and immediately begin to paw frantically at their mouth, you need to consult a veterinary dentist immediately. Finally, the most dangerous shift of all, the pica warning. If your dog's behavior shifts from holding or lightly chewing the sock to systematically swallowing the fabric, this is a life-threatening emergency. Swallowing fabric rapidly leads to fatal gastrointestinal obstructions. Furthermore, rapid onset pica can be indicative of underlying GI diseases like inflammatory bowel disease. It can signal exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or it can be a screaming siren of severe, unmanaged, generalized anxiety disorder. Do not ignore it. So, armed with this data, let us reframe the reality of the stolen sock. When you walk into the bedroom and catch them red-handed with your laundry, take a breath. Do not yell. Do not scold them. Understand what you are actually witnessing in that moment. You are witnessing an animal that has evolved over 14,000 years to exist alongside you. An animal whose DNA has mutated to make them so incredibly hypersociable, they literally crave your chemical signature just to feel safe when you are gone. They are seeking out an item covered in 250,000 sweat glands just to bathe their own brain in dopamine. They are actively simulating the exact same oxytocin loop that biologically bonds a mother to a newborn child. Your dog does not steal your socks because they are bad. They steal them because to their primal, perfectly adapted brain, you are the most important creature in the universe, and holding on to a piece of you is the only way they know how to show it. The next time your dog steals a sock, remember the heavy evolutionary weight of the mischief. What is the weirdest or funniest thing your dog has ever stolen just to get your attention? Let me know down in the comments below. And make absolutely sure you hit subscribe, because in the next video, we are breaking down exactly why dogs insist on circling 3 times before lying down. And I promise you, the ancient science behind that behavior is even stranger than you'd expect.